What up, Richard Timmers here. Now, with the release of Amazon's series simply titled Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power, this week I am going to be doing my review for the Lord of the Rings franchise, including the Hobbit films. So here's my review for the pretty much the one that really started off, and that is, of course, the iconic 2001 film, The Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring. I mean, 2001 was a really cool year for films. I mean, come on, we had the debut of the first Harry Potter film. We had Training Day that year. I mean, talk about talk about a great film year for 2001. Now, the film, if you don't know, is directed by Peter Jackson and was the start of a really interesting trilogy. And I would say this off throughout biggest Lord of the Rings guy, but I do really have appreciated the Lord of the Rings films over the years. They are really entertaining. The fantasy aspect is great, and Fellowship of the Ring is a really good one. This one tells the pretty much set in Middle Earth, and tells the story of a Dark Lord, Sauron, who seeks the One Ring, which also contains parts of the soul, and in order to return, true power, the ring has also found its way to young Hobbit Frodo Baggins, who is of course played by Elijah Wood, and of course the fate of Middle Earth hangs in the balance as Frodo and eight companions who form the Fellowship of the Ring begin their journey to Mount Doom in the land of Mordor, which is the only place where the ring can be destroyed here. The movie was, of course, released all the way back on December 19th, 2001. And it was pretty much entirely shot in Jackson's native New Zealand part, and it is a really intriguing film. I mean, the adventure aspect is really cool. Um Obviously, the cast here. I mean, come on, you got Sir Ian McKellen as the role of Gandalf, who is maybe one of the most iconic wizards of all time. You also had, Viggo Mortensen also in this. Sean Astin as a Samwise Gamgee. The always great Sean Bean, who is always terrific. You had Billy Boyd, who of course is best known for voicing Glenn and Glenda and Steve Chucky. Speaking of Chucky, you even had Brad Dourif popping up. You had Dominic Monaghan, Lip Tyler, Kate Blanchett, Hugo Weaving. I mean, yeah, you even had Ian Holm as like the older version of Bilbo Baggins. I mean, talk about a great cast here. The effects, of course, great. Of course, you had Andy Serkis as the most captain role of Gollum, who is one of the most iconic characters of the Lord of the Rings films. The effects is great. I mean, this movie did score lots of Oscar nominations. Even scored a Best Picture nomination, but lost out to A Beautiful Mind that year. So I mean, the Lord of the Rings film did not really end up winning Best Picture until the third one, believe it or not. But yeah, I mean, the look of Sauron, always thought looked cool. The characters and the chemistry between the cast is always terrific. I mean, the first Lord of the Rings film is a really intriguing one. I mean, it is one of the most influential films of all time. With great effects, great sounding, great score. I mean, great scenery. It is a really intriguing film worth checking out. And of course, would we would end up films after this, obviously. So yeah, if you have never really seen Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings, you can probably find it maybe on like sorry for that. You can probably find it on like HBO Max, Apple, Vudu. Give it a go. It's a really terrific one. And of course, Elijah Wood as Frodo is really great casting. I mean, Elijah Wood, obviously in the 90s, he was always big as a child star, and so like this was like his major grown up role, like for outside of being a child star from the 90s, and he nails it every inch as Frodo. I mean, this movie would not work if Elijah Wood did not do great as Frodo, and of course Sean Astin. Come on, what more can you ask for there? Definitely a really intriguing film to check out. Anyway, let me lead you guys. Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring? If so, what show? Are we a fan? Are we not a fan of it? Favorite scenes, favorite moments? Where will this rank in your favorite Lord of the Rings films? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon signing out.